US Navy's stealth plane that never was. This is the A12 Avenger II, designed in the 80s and going into the early 90s before it was eventually scrapped, also known as the Flying Dorito. Like I said, this was in the 80s, so this is before a lot of our stealth technology would come into effect. However, as you can see, this is one of the early attempts at stealth, especially the flying wing design. The US Navy was actually going to put these things on aircraft carriers. The Marines were going to have them, the Air Force was going to have them. It was going to be a big thing. And then it turned out that the company, General Dynamics and Donald Douglas, didn't actually know what they were doing, ended up spending about $2 billion of the government's money, and were not able to actually build anything. One of the big problems is that they were trying to design this thing to be really small, to easily lift off of aircraft carriers, then still be able to carry around a third of what an F-14 would have been able to carry at the time period, which is pretty good because a lot of stealth means the armaments need to be on the inside of the airplane. However, it was just too heavy. All kinds of issues, lots of problems. The Cold War was ending, and the US military just decided, actually, we don't really need this big boondoggle. However, can you imagine how cool it would have been to see these things coming off an aircraft carrier? What's extra interesting is that the Secretary of Defense at the time, Dick Cheney, was the one who actually canceled the Flying Dorito. Not only that, it actually ended up going into the courts and being fought out until 2014, when the companies finally lost the lawsuit and had to repay the US military.